This is a very basic talk. I won't be doing anything very technical. This is just for security professionals working on teams with limited resources, limited time, limited people. There's a lot of the tools I'm going to address here are things that I've dealt with, and I have stories for just about each one. So before we get to all that, I am a podcaster, both consumer and a producer. I don't know if anyone's listened to the BBC Security Podcast. I produced that one. I've also recently spun on my own, Exploring Information Security, which Doug was kind enough to actually do an interview for this event on a few weeks ago. Yeah, and it's just exploring several, information security topics. So, and I mentioned podcasts here more as a shameless plug, but also because I've found a lot of these tools listening to podcasts. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Security Weekly. One of the first tools I cover, someone was talking about the tools that do demonstrations. So if you're looking for stuff, podcasts are a great thing to do when you're riding to work or riding home. Who am I? I work for the state of South Carolina. I worked for the state of South Carolina for the last 7 years, and so I have had limited resources and limited people. So I've had to meet certain challenges regardless of that, and a lot of these tools are free or very low cost. So challenges I've had to deal with, first figuring out how to research tools. One of the things in information security is you got to learn how to stay up with it. So that's a challenge in itself. Hey, go build a security assessment program. Why are we getting infected? How can we, Windows XP? It's end of life, but we're still going to have some boxes because we got to run this legacy application. So how do we improve hardening on that? And then how to, deal with patch management. Adobe Flash has come out with its 7th vulnerability in the last 2 weeks. How do we patch that quickly and avoid some of these malware alerts? So these are all the tools. I'm going to blow the delivery of it right away. We've got Google and Twitter for research and discovery tools and staying up with some of the current information security news and new developments and vulnerabilities. OWASP Dev Attack Proxy, which is used for security assessment. You've got the Redline tool for forensics. And then the Enhanced Mitigation Experience Toolkit, EMET, which is Microsoft's free tool that helps with computer hardware. And then finally, we have BT108 Deploy, which helps with patch management and getting those pesky Adobe Flash vulnerabilities taken care of. So my first challenge is research. And we've got some giveaways, we've been giving them away. For the Blue Team Starter Handbook, what is the #1 tool of security or of IT professionals? Google. That's why you can go first, so Google. Yep. And that's pretty much what that is. I'll say that if you're getting into information or if you're getting into information security IT in general, Google, know how to search for Google. One of my favorite techniques within Google is to put quotation marks around different things. So InfoSec tools is going to give you InfoSec stuff and tools, but if you put quotations around it, you're going to get a more defined search towards that. So, and the cost of that is your behavioral data. But it's a very valuable tool. I think had several people shouting it out. So I'm not going to do the demo now. I got demos for just about every tool. So challenge #2 is threat intelligence. And so, how do you stay up with that? It's, Twitter is probably one of the best things for this kind of thing. A lot of breaking news before it hits the news media, whether it's an article or a TV, it's going to end up on Twitter. And this is not just information security, this is sports. You see this in sports, you'll see this in political news, you see this just about everywhere. So in this demonstration here, you got a hacking team. I don't know if anyone was on Twitter for that one, but that was actually a lot of fun. There's a lot of snark, a lot of making fun of them, and a lot of rhetoric there. But there's also, as you can see there's a lot of people doing some analysis on this stuff. Going through this data, finding Adobe vulnerabilities. I think they had 2 or 3 Adobe vulnerabilities that Adobe didn't know about. So let me go follow Adobe, so I know when Adobe's going to actually patch this stuff and release a patch for all of it. there's also, last year was, I guess you call the year of OpenSSL. And a lot of that stuff broke on Twitter. I can remember when Heartbleed occurred, because I was watching Twitter and everyone was talking about that. And from that, there's a lot of sharing of, just general links and information and tools. How I personally be able to grab a tool and go find out if my organization was vulnerable or not. So it's a very valuable tool. I can't really say much more about it. But for the second giveaway here, which is an Uber Truth 1, can anyone name all 5 logos there? You got it, or anyone? That's all. Here you go. You got it? Yep, that's it. So, for anyone that's here, that was Heartbleed, which is the heart bleeding, Poodle, which is the poodle, Venom, which is the snake there, Ghost, and then Shell Shock as the shell. Alright, so challenge number 3 was application security. So we've got new applications, even in the state they've got developers building applications that run a lot of their own offerings. So we've got to start testing this stuff before it goes out the door. I think that's very relevant within the news now. So I had no idea what I was doing, but okay, I gotta go do it. One of the things I found was OAuth. OAuth is free. Before I get really into it, is the alternative to that is Burp Suite, and that is actually the tool of choice for application security professionals. So if you go into application security professionals, they're going to want you, more than likely, they're going to want you to know Burp Suite. Burp Suite, though, has a community version, but it's throttled. A subscription of $300 gives you the full version. So they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I think Zap has come a long way. One of the benefits I found, because I've also, on my EIS podcast, I've interviewed Simon Bennett, the creator of Zap. He works for Mozilla. He's actually a developer. He is not an InfoSec guy. He's a developer that wants to write more secure code. And information security professionals just sort of come to him and say, hey, this is a really good tool. Let me start using it. I've talked to a couple people about Burp Suite and how it works with developers, but if you're in an organization that money is an issue, giving Zap to all your developers is going to be a better sell than trying to get however many licenses of Burp Suite. So keep that in mind. So now we'll go to a demo, and I'm going to walk you through. So another thing that I have, OWASP, for anyone that doesn't know, is Open Web Application Security Project. And it's an open source, free sharing of projects and everything. So OWASP is one of their flagships. OWASP Bricks here is an intentionally vulnerable website. What it does is it allows you to go through and it'll walk you through some of the different attack vectors within the OWASP top 10. So to set this up though, for Z attack proxy, now I think a lot of people know you have a start button here. That's where a lot of people fall into, you can start there and get all your low-hanging fruit, but you've actually got to dive a little bit deeper. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper, but it can actually even go even deeper than that. I want to show some of the basics to kind of get you going. So what you need to do, you go into here, set up your LAN, you set it up as a proxy, right? So it's just capturing everything that you're clicking on within the browser. Be careful of this because you do not want to go out and start testing a bunch of sites that you do not own. This is specifically for your stuff. You can get in some serious trouble with it if you do that. So you can see right here, we've already started getting the maps. I actually don't want this. This is built into the application, so I can exclude it so I don't get in trouble. So a lot of times, if you're running this on the stuff that you have a bunch of other stuff browsing, or you got a bunch of other stuff open, it's going to pick up that stuff. So you have to really be careful about that. There's a screenshot. There's my screen capture. mark, so I'll exclude that. But you just go, and what the idea is that you're mapping out the application. So you're going through and you're clicking on every single thing, you're filling out every single field, you're hitting every single submit button. You want to go through and fully explore the application. So go to the About page, let's go to the Setup page, go back. So you want to go through and thoroughly test this. This is a simpler page than most applications. But after you've done that, you can actually start doing your attacks. So you have a spider attack, and that just does exactly what typically is. You can see that it's spidering the entire website. And if I do the drop down here, we can see a lot more stuff is being found just by using that spider. So, and the more you explore the application, the more the spider is going to be able to go out and find. There's also the Ajax spider for Ajax type of content, and this is actually one of the cooler things to look at, is that it's going to open up a Mozilla Firefox or whatever browser it has support for, and it's going to start running through the application for you, submitting different things. So it's just going through Ajax type of content on websites. And that can run for a while, so we'll actually go ahead and stop that. But, and I'm not going to do this next attack, but then you want to do your forced browse site. The forced browse site is essentially going through, and it's got a list. Zap has some default lists, but then they also have some, you can build your own list, but it's essentially going and looking for hidden directories, and it's going to pound each site. So this actually takes a really long time, not going to even bother launching it. And then after all that, so you've essentially mapped your entire application. Then you want to run your active scan. We'll leave it on the, I don't know if anyone knows, but you can see some advanced options there. Like I said, you can, this is just scratching the surface. You can go much deeper and kind of fine tune some of this stuff for whatever testing you want to do. And so here you can see what Zap is running through. So right now it's running through path traversal, then through file inclusion. It'll run through SQL injection, and this active scan, it can take a while to run. So then you stop that, and then you can go to report here, and you can generate an HTML report, you can generate an XML report. The XML is very useful for things like threat fix. I don't know if anyone's ever heard or used the threat fix, but it's a application. That's also got a free community version and an enterprise version. And you can import your XML file into there and kind of track some of these vulnerabilities. So what I like about the HTML report here is that it's going to pull up a report that looks something like this. So, and what's great about this is that you can hand this to a developer, and you can, it has a description, it has a URL, it has an attack, and you can replicate that attack oftentimes too. So you want to confirm a lot of your vulnerabilities you're finding. So it might be a false positive. These scans are not foolproof and perfect. They do have false positives, just like anything else. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, but you can see that they have, and it shows all your URLs. They've actually changed the format a little bit, but some of the solutions are longer than others because they're more complex. But it gives you, something that, at least a starting point for research. It gives you references and links to follow. And you take that to developers and you want to try to work with them on securing your application. So, and I've, there's other, like I said, there's other things you can get into. It's got different modes. I usually leave it on standard, which you get a safe mode, attack mode, and it's well documented. So, go out and you can take this home tonight and go play with it. And, obviously, like I said, be careful what site you're going to, but that is a possibility. So my next challenge was forensics. So we have, at the state level, we have a security operations center that sends us SOC alerts. They're not internal to our organization. They are more the state has a higher IT level. And they will send us SOC alerts that we have to then go respond to. So initially it's, when you get a SOC alert, just go right into it. Just to be safe. But we want to get more of an idea of why we're getting infected, and if there's anything we can do about it. And, as I mentioned about false positives, there could have been a false positive when we just reimaged the machine for no reason. There was a malware ad that popped up on a website, and and it was blocked by the web filter or something else. So I use Managed Redline. Another tool is volatility. I have used volatility, so I can't really speak to it, but a lot of people talk about that quite a bit. And the cost for Managed Redline is free. So Managed has released this tool for free. Tim Crothers, who spoke two sessions before this one, he gave a talk last year at this event at BSides Augusta on this tool, and he went more in depth in this. So I would recommend watching that if you're interested in it. So now we'll go back to the demo. All right, so this is Redline. Your starting point is going to be create a comprehensive collector. Once you've done that, you're going to have the option to where you're going to store, where you're going to have your forensics at, or your forensics folder, and then where you're going to. You have like a checkbox for memory, so you can. I always check it for memory because memory there's going to be more stuff in there. And for people that don't know, when you grab a machine, you don't want to necessarily reboot it because then you lose information that can be useful for looking at this kind of stuff. So after you get the session, I'm going to show you how to actually launch a collection. But I want to start this because this is going to take a minute. So you actually, after you get your session, you're going to click Open. Here is the package right here. So it creates a folder where you define it, and all you have to do to launch it. Test it, but it's going to go through and it's just going to pop up this command prompt and it's going to start collecting all the events from your machine and putting it in one location so you can run the Redline analysis tool on it and get a better idea what's going on. It's been doing this. I've been kind of 50-50 on getting this up and running. So let's close that. I think it may be because I launched it. We try one more time. If not, we'll move on. And this probably has more to do with the fact that I've got, 5 or 6 different applications open right now. It is a really good tool. And it'll take, when you launch that collection session, it's going to take 3 to 4 hours. Depending on how good the computer hardware is and how many files are on there. Are there any questions at this point? We'll come back to that. Let's come back. Let's move on. No, I was able to test this without. It doesn't. No, unlike Alyssa's, it doesn't require the internet. Yeah, no, they told speakers not to expect wireless, and so I've built everything I've tested without internet. So it should work. It's just been real derpy at times. I probably wish I close out some of the stuff. Like I said, we'll move on, and if at the end it finally loads, we'll give it another shot at the end. I don't want to keep people here just to run Redline. Like I said, go home and run Redline. It's very well documented. It took me maybe 20 minutes and I was off and running. And then you can start going through and checking out some of this stuff. So endpoint security. So we had Windows XP machines still on our network after Windows XP went into support. The reason why I got this next tool was specifically because Internet Explorer had a vulnerability, and I got tired of reading that EMET blocked that vulnerability. So Microsoft's EMET is a free tool. There's a lot of people that have been writing about this tool. That's the interface. That's simple. I've deployed it to my agency, or I deployed it to my agency. And you've got granular control over all the apps. And actually, what I'm going to go run through now is I'm going to show you how easy it is to install. And then you just go, click here. And while this is running, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But Dave Kennedy has written about this. Carlos Perez has written about this. Stormsetter has written about this. There's a lot of information about how not only to how to deploy this to an agency. So you can do this at the enterprise level, but deploying it to the agency in an easy way. So I'll show you the avenue doing that, but then grab and control with it. So you can control this with group policy by just putting some AMDX files on the main controllers, and then getting a bin to it, which to control certain aspects of it. That's not going to give you the granular control of EMET. That will require an XML file that you can use, that you can throw into a logon script and load onto every machine. One of the things I have seen with Redline is I have seen Redline show me that EMET stepped in before the antivirus and blocked the malicious action on the machine. What EMET essentially does is behind the scenes, it's very technical, again, very well documented, but behind the scenes, it's pretty much changing some of the processes that malware uses to exploit machines, and it kind of, I guess, hides it a little bit.
In the latest version, did they fix the problems with Chrome?
I haven't had a problem with Chrome. I've had more problems like Microsoft Office and Microsoft IE. Go figure. But
version of an optimization that EMET saw as malware.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that so when you deploy to your organization, you want to fully test this out. For some reason, 4.0 went out to my entire organization. Fine. I tried updating the 5.2, and I dirked the developers' machines, and they were not happy about it. I didn't push it to everybody. I just pushed it to the all IT floor. I use IT as the guinea pig, but I pushed the developers, and their Office stopped working, and their IE stopped working, and I had to go around to each one and turn it off. So it's a wonderful thing, but also it can be a very frustrating thing. And they are, like you were saying, if you go to their website, they'll tell you what isn't working with what application. And then I just put in the base, so Office, I believe the base is like Office and stuff like Java and Adobe, which is kind of your main worry there, but it'll go out and protect Skype and all this other stuff. So these are your controls. Although one of the downsides here is that if you have to change these controls, you have to reboot the machine. Sometimes you can change the controls and stuff will start working, but other times you have to do a full reboot, which is one of the downsides. But this is the control that you have. You can see all the protections running here. So when EMET does block something, in the bottom right corner, it'll usually pop up EMET block, and it'll give you the exact thing. So in the case of my developers, I had EAF Plus was blocking it for whatever reason, so I had to go in and just uncheck them for that thing. I mean, you are unfortunately having to uncheck the protections, but you're still allowing all this other stuff, all this other protection to occur on the box. And again, after you've got this straightened out, so you want to take a machine from every department that you can, developers, some from the business, IT, and other finance and other areas, and go thoroughly test it so that you can create an XML file and use that for your logon script. So, and then the import thing here, you can see that you have also popular software and recommended software. So it also gives you some stuff. You can import, I believe you can import your own into here, but you can import some of the recommended and popular stuff. And it's got certificate pinning, which I know is something a lot of people have talked about. So great tool, highly recommend it. I'm not going to say it's easy. There is going to, it takes a little planning, and it will require a little management as the updates come. But it's effective because I've seen it. And every time you read an article that says new IE vulnerability EMET, sometimes at the bottom it says EMET mitigates this vulnerability. So then you don't have to rush around and go, oh no. Patch all the things. So here are the links. I will make my slides available on my website, timothydblock.com. And like I said, and these aren't even, this isn't even half my links that I have just for getting EMET, getting it up within the organization. There's a lot of stuff out there, and even though some of these do say, we're up to 5.2 right now. Even though it says 5.1, and I think there might be a 5.0 up there. A lot of those same things. So there's a couple 2014 links there. That still applies. Still works. Everyone get it? Yeah. Very cool. There's my demo. All right, so patch management. How do I get Adobe Flash updated? How do I even deploy EMET? A lot of, I think third-party software is one of the most frustrating things for security professionals to patch because I don't think there's a really good solution. Secunia, I've been using Secunia's personal software that for a while now that goes out and finds a patch for everything. But that, you have to pay, I think, anywhere from $35,000 to $70,000 to get the full enterprise version. So one of the tools, and I got to give credit, I didn't find this tool, my sysadmin found this tool while we were trying to tackle the problem, but it's PDQ deploy. It is the only non-free tool here. It is $500 for the enterprise version, but there is a free version you can take home. Again, like all community versions, it's throttle. But it's a wonderful, simple tool that has just absolutely worked. And this is PDQ deploy right here. So one of the first things, to get started in here, you go in here and look, they got a nice long list of vendors. You got Adobe up there. You go into, again, I shouldn't need internet connection. There we go. Shouldn't need internet connection. Oh look, Flash, and then you just click, and it's going to import, it's going to import the download for you. It's going to create a package for you to go deploy. So you can mess around with some of the parameters and stuff, but you don't have to. You can just download this and start deploying it. So once you've imported it, you go to the package itself, and then you click deploy. You can set up schedules and stuff, obviously not the free version, but choose targets. So you can do it by Active Directory. You can do it by PDQ inventory, which I'll talk about in a second. You can do it by Spiceworks, and you can do it just by the good old text file. So grab a list of IP addresses and just go to town. That's typically what I do for like my test user group. I have a list of about 18, 20 IPs that I just throw in the text file and push out to the agency. I'm not going to launch it because I don't have any machines to patch. But you just let that run for a little bit. It's going to take some time. I have never had this error out. I've never derped anyone's machine with it. It's been a wonderful tool, and this is the free version on my machine. The other cool thing about this is that it does have Microsoft stuff. And oh look, there's EMET 5.2 right there. So this is what I used initially to push out EMET 4.0. I also used to push out EMET 5.2 when I derped the developer's machine. So that was probably more my fault for not testing thoroughly. Because I tested it fine on the three machines I had, and it worked just fine. But so EMET seems to, if the machines you need, it seems to have a little bit of an issue. For instance, on this machine. Now that I've installed EMET, I can't, for whatever reason, launch Zap, which is a little weird. So that's pretty much all I had for the tools there. As you can see, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there as well. Like I mentioned, Tim Crowther's is up there. Simon Bennett, Zap is everywhere. And it's not like Zap's got its actually own instructor list where you can hire someone to come out or have someone come out and either speak on it or train on it. Tim Crowther's, like I mentioned, is from last time. Another BSides Cleveland had Kevin Genoso talking about EMET, and there's just a lot of BSides events have a lot of these tools on there. So I highly recommend going through there. And then Admin Arsenal, who is who made PDQ deploy, is has some great YouTube videos. I got a guy with a really long beard. Sits in the bottom right corner, explains how to do stuff, which leads me to PDQ inventory. So PDQ inventory, the caveat here is I have not used PDQ inventory, so I can't talk to this point. But as we're looking to tackle our third-party cache management problem, the one fault of PDQ deploy by itself is that it doesn't go out and look at what you have on the machine. So it can't go out and automatically update that stuff. PDQ inventory, on the other hand, is supposed to allow you to do that. It'll allow you to go out and inventory the machines, find out what software is on there, and then you can build packages out that will automatically go out and update that stuff. So if anyone's heard of streaming, it's a lot like that, supposedly, at least according to their YouTube videos. And that at PDQ inventory is also $500. So $1,000 potentially could improve your package management process. So again, there are the tools. Let me go run Redline again, see if it actually finished doing its thing. Yes. Okay. So I am investigating an external event. So you can see right there, I've got the, so basically what you have to do is you actually get, like, it'll load up everything on the computer back to the beginning of time. You want to drill down just by simply putting in the time wrinkle. So here, put in 8:17, 23:43, and it gives, I go by 2 minutes, and you can see just within 2 minutes, I still have 742 items to go to. So the more time you can get, the better. If people can get close to that time. So time when you're trying to respond to these things is very important in trying to track it down, but it is still possible. Like I said, I've seen EMET step in, I've seen the antivirus step in and block stuff. So when we're getting these SOC alerts, we can then go back to the SOC and say, yeah, it looks like our antivirus took care of it. We don't need to reuse the machine. One of my biggest wins with this is that we had 30 users get a phishing email with all it said was invoice and number. We had 8 people click on it because the 7th person forwarded it to their boss after it didn't work and the boss clicked on it. Not kidding. And so we had 8 people that got their machine compromised with some sort of exe that was placed in their temp folder. So luckily we had some good users that came and informed us almost immediately, hey, I clicked on this, a black box popped up and went away. So it's a matter of getting this on their machine, unplugging it from the network, and then running it. Like I said, it's 3 hours of waiting at that point, but at that point we're so busy because more and more reports were coming in of people clicking in. We're trying to tell people, if you see this email, delete it. We're trying to get it, marked as spam, so we're doing all this other stuff. But we were able to look through this because we had a general time, and we were able to look through this and find the exe, and with confidence say nothing else was installed. Because we are on all the events in the machine, registry, browsing history, you can see where he's in Outlook, and you can see where the exe got placed in the temp folder. So we remove that and do a couple extra scans just to make sure, and then we do that on the first couple of machines, and then we can go grab the other 6. And instead of them being out for 2 weeks, because we've got 8 people that need to have their machinery, we got everybody back working within the day. So that was probably my biggest win with using Redline, and I would recommend it. And what's great about, like I said, all these tools is you can go home tonight and start playing with them. You can start looking at implementing them in your organization by Monday if you need to do so. Like I said, I haven't had opportunities in a lot of the expensive tools, but these seem to work pretty good, and these are the most effective. So that's pretty much my talk. I want to thank everyone for sticking around until the end. Hopefully I got us out a little bit early. But are there any questions, any other tools to share? Yes.
I was going to ask you a question about the podcast, but I found it. So,
oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah.
Which one? Both?
I just subscribed to both of the podcasts, but I'm trying to find the PVC sec.
PVC. So PVC is on pvcsec.com. That's the website for that.
Yeah, I had to search for PVC space security.
Okay. Yeah, PVC stands for passion, vision, communication, and execution. The E is silent. But they wanted it to be PVC, so that's what we went with. I didn't have a choice in that. That was their vision.
But I did have a question about the BT108
Okay.
application. Is it, with all those vendors that are listed, it goes out and gets the install. Have you ever seen it have any issues with freeware that installs like third party, like a toolbar or something?
Oh yeah, oh like Yahoo's thing. I haven't seen that because these usually go out and grab like the raw files and like it silently installs a lot of stuff. So the Adobe Flash, I was able to push out through the day. Like I just went ahead and pushed it. If I saw a new Adobe Flash, I went ahead and pushed it. The users didn't have any idea what's going on. I didn't test that out. That'd be an interesting thing to test out.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I was just like that fidget plumbing thing. Maybe that gets all sorts of.
Right. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where you get Yahoo, like Yahoo seems to be getting in on all that and changing my search engine regularly. Any other questions? Does anyone have any other tools? I'd be interested to hear if anyone has any other tools to share, or if any of that meet these challenges or otherwise. The one I'm reading through now is Chris Sanders, Network Security Monty, Applied Security. He presented here earlier today. He's got a book out that helps with security monitoring. And he's got a lot of tools in there, like Doug's Security Onion, and some other tools to accomplish that problem. That's a much bigger problem than a lot of these, but yeah.
We used 99 for a while for third-party.
That was 99?
N-I-N-I-T-E.
N-I-N-T-E.
Yeah, it was kind of cost per node, it was still pretty cheap for relatively small, and it worked with the Active Directory. You could go put it on a server or something. You could go and pull all the machines, check the boxes, which ones would go out to, and check which apps. You could say install or update or upgrade.
Okay.
It was kind of cool.
Okay, so 99?
Yeah, it's a web page. You just pick checkboxes for these applications and build a package. That's all that.
Okay, cool. Anything else? If not, we'll give a lockpick set. It's kind of cool. So, name one of the people I've had on the EIS podcast. Name one of the people I've had on the ESA. What?
So you mentioned earlier, you said Doug Burks.
Doug Burks, yeah. Yes.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't have anything.
All done?
Yeah, I'm all done.
Great job.